Coming up in news tonight, how the Zika virus is affecting the nation's #1 industry. The opposition leader says he's got a big plan for the inner city. A local bishop says the country is headed in the wrong direction. Plus, hundreds of children get ready for the new year with the help of a local Rotary Club. Arrivals and airlift have picked up considerably. Further travel alerts about the virus in the Bahamas could hurt our #1 industry. He said the Ministry of Tourism plans to meet with industry stakeholders on Monday to address the issue. This as the number of confirmed Zika cases in the Bahamas continues to rise.
Always a concern, and we have to be on top of the situation, continue to monitor. There's going to be a meeting on Monday here in the capital with all the stakeholders. We're putting it together now, tourism and the stakeholders, to make sure that we are explaining to them the issue, explaining to them what is going on, explaining to them the ramifications of any spread of the disease or spread of the virus, because the truth is more of those warnings could really hurt the Bahamas.
There are now 8 confirmed cases of Zika in the Bahamas and dozens more suspected cases. Since the first case of Zika was reported on August 10th, the Bahamas has received 3 international travel warnings from Canada, Taiwan, and the United States.
We want to make sure that all the stakeholders and their environs are protected, make sure that they're getting the message out to visitors who come that the Bahamas is aware of, but we are staying on top of the situation. We're monitoring, and all the precautionary measures are in place. So we are obviously very concerned, because our view is the more you have these warnings, and if it goes from country to country to country warning about the Bahamas, then that could escalate and that could cause problems for you.
Wilchcombe said the government remains committed to staying on top of the situation. And although Zika fears had an initial impact on the tourism industry, figures now are continuing to go up.
Saw the slow start because of Zika, weather conditions and everything else, but the numbers have picked up considerably. Airlift is doing very well, particularly here in the capital. In Grand Bahama, we see some work that's required because of the Canadian slowdown, but the numbers are better today than they were as we started the new year. But all in all, the numbers are up this year.
The minister said airlift is expected to continue to rise, and in the coming month, more services will be announced to meet further demand.
We have the seats that we require to fill our hotel rooms as existing. Now with Bahama being prepared and getting ready for any time now, we have to now go out and get even more airlift. And so that's the focus right now, getting more airlift to be on top of the situation, to ensure that we have enough airlift to match the rooms we have. And with Bahama coming on stream, you're talking about 2,200 more rooms, you need some more airlift. The airlift we have now does match our existing inventory count, but we need more.
Cleaning up trash around the yard or workplace may significantly reduce the risk of mosquito breeding. That's according to Assistant Director in the Department of Environmental Health, Andrew Thompson. Speaking to Our News earlier this week, Thompson advised discarded man-made trash creates the perfect breeding conditions for the Aedes aegypti mosquito.
In general, there are always challenges when you have rainy season with respect to solid waste management, because the raining season, it slows it down a bit. But the challenge would be with respect to Zika and the Aedes aegypti breeding. It would be these containers that we are trying to encourage people to remove, because they're going to fill up with water very quickly, and you're going to have breeding. If you can move it right away, just turn it down and then make the arrangements for it to be removed.
Thompson says home and business owners alike have a role to play in helping to reduce the mosquito population.
They have a significant role to play that they need to, and this is homeowners and businesses. The mosquitoes, they are not prejudiced. They will live anywhere you provide. They're not, they're not going to take sides. They're going to live anywhere. And so homes and businesses need to make sure that they do an inspection every week, make sure there's nothing that is holding water.
But there are approved insect repellents everyone can use to protect themselves.
There are EPA registered and safe repellents, DEET, picaridin, IR 35, and oil of eucalyptus. Those are repellents that can be used.
In other news tonight, opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis says the Free National Movement will place special emphasis on inner city communities as they campaign to win the next general election. Minnis says those neighborhoods hold a special place in his heart as he grew up in the Bain and Grantstown community.
As you know, I am from Baintown, and the inner city is dear to me. The inner city and the Family Islands in particular are very, very dear to me.
He added one of the areas of concern is crime. He said under his administration, the FNM will look at making those areas tax-free zones to alleviate the burden on struggling families.
Even when we look at crime, when you think of 60% of the murders coming from the inner city, that itself is an indictment of the Minister of National Security and the Prime Minister himself, who are representative for those areas. But those areas are dear to me, they are personal. And not only will we declare those areas tax-free, but there are a lot more incentives for them that would be discussed at a later stage.
The Mike-Cal constituency is one area that could be redrawn if FNM Deputy Leader Peter Turnquest has his way as a member of the constituency's commission. Turnquest serves as the opposition's representative on the commission, whose job it is to look at population shifts and other factors to determine if any constituency boundaries need to be redrawn.
Yeah, I am very sensitive to Mike-Cal in particular, because while the population may not be significant in terms of each island, the geography of it, and considering that you have to hop an aircraft from one island to the next, and in most instances you have to come back to Nassau to go to another island, it is very taxing on a representative, and it is somewhat unfair to the people in those islands. So if I had my choice, I think I'd like to see a little bit of redrawing of that.
Other members of the commission include House Speaker Dr. Kendall Major, Supreme Court Justice Stephen Isaacs, and Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis. A second representative of the government is expected to be named. Turnquest noted changes have been done for political reasons in the past, but he's hoping that will no longer happen.
Over the years, boundary changes have been made for political reasons, which is unfortunate. And I believe and I hope that one day we will be mature enough to move to an independent boundaries commission where these things are determined based upon scientific data rather than on political expediency. But as it stands, the government of the day, by its majority, will determine for the most part, where the boundary lines will be changed, if any are to be changed, and whether there are any seats that are added to the number in the House.
The constitutional minimum for the number of seats in the House of Assembly is 38, which is the number we have today.
There is legitimate cases for some of the islands where the land mass is just very long or difficult to navigate. And there is groupings of islands together that may or need to be revisited, determine whether the people in those islands are in fact getting effective representation. And so that's the kind of issues that will be the committee will look at. And certainly, from my part, I hope to keep the committee honest, that we take as impartial a look at any changes that are proposed or that will be proposed as possible.
Still to come on our news, Bishop Simeon Hall says the country is headed in the wrong direction. Stay with us.